In 2017, someone broke Ethereum, not through hacking, but by calling a function that was never supposed to be called. The standard narrative is simple. A developer made a careless mistake in the Parity wallet software. A user exploited it. Millions vanished. Case closed. But the real story requires understanding what Parity was, why it mattered, and what a single typo in a smart contract actually means when billions of dollars are at stake. July 2017. Ethereum had been live for 2 years. The network was maturing. Millions of users were moving funds into wallets, and the most popular choice among institutions and large holders was Parity. It was fast, it was trusted, and it held somewhere around 5% of all Ethereum in circulation at that moment. Parity wasn't just a wallet. It was a client software that ran the Ethereum network itself. If you ran Parity, you were both holding coins and validating blocks. That concentration of function, that marriage of wallet and node software, would become the single point of failure. The Parity team had written a multi-signature wallet contract. Multi-sig means multiple keys are required to move money. It's a security feature. In theory, no single person can drain the account. In practice, the code contained a function called init_wallet. It was supposed to run once during setup. After that, it was supposed to be locked. It wasn't locked. The developers hadn't disabled it. And because this was Ethereum, where any function is callable by anyone, the door was open. A user, or possibly a curious developer, called the function. One transaction. One line of code executed where it should never have executed. The function didn't steal the money. It did something simpler and more final. It reset the wallet's owner to a new address. Suddenly, the multi-signature protections meant nothing. The wallet had a new master. The money was still there, but no one who actually owned it could touch it. The first incident happened in July. Around 150,000 Ethereum was frozen. That was roughly $30 million at the time. The Parity team acknowledged the vulnerability. They issued a patch. Users were advised to move their funds. Many did. The crisis seemed contained. Then November came. A different user, or the same one, called the same function on a different Parity wallet. This time, the frozen amount was enormous, over 500,000 Ethereum. At November prices, that was roughly $280 million, more than 5 times the July loss. The difference this time, the frozen funds belonged to multiple entities. Some were held by a major decentralized exchange. Some were institutional deposits. The scope expanded the problem from a single company's embarrassment to a systemic crisis. Here's where the real story diverges from the accepted version. The accepted version says, Parity was negligent. A developer made a mistake. Users lost money. It happens. Move on. That's not wrong, but it's incomplete. The deeper issue was architectural. Smart contracts on Ethereum were immutable. Once deployed, they couldn't be patched. If a bug existed in the code, it existed forever. Parity's developers wrote code assuming human behavior would prevent misuse. They assumed no one would call a function they weren't supposed to call. That assumption was naive. Ethereum's entire design philosophy was code is law. If a function exists, it can be called. If it can be called, someone will call it. Especially if calling it might lead to discovering vulnerabilities or testing the system's limits. The second freeze happened on November 6, 2017. Within hours, the Parity team and the Ethereum community faced an impossible situation. The money wasn't gone. It was locked in a contract that no one could unlock. Recovery required either a hard fork, a change to the entire blockchain, or accepting the loss as permanent. A hard fork had precedent. In 2016, after the DAO hack, Ethereum had reversed transactions by forking the chain. But that fork had been controversial. Some miners and users rejected it, creating Ethereum Classic. Doing it again risked another split. The community debated. The decision was made. No fork. The the money would stay frozen. That's the actual story, not negligence leading to loss, but a fundamental tension in blockchain design: immutability versus recoverability, security versus flexibility. The Parity freeze wasn't a hack. It was a feature being used as it was written, with consequences no one had fully anticipated. The $280 million remained frozen for years. In 2021, a proposal emerged to allow Parity to recover the funds through a special contract update. It passed. The money moved. But it took 4 years, and it required the very kind of network-level intervention that Ethereum's design was supposed to prevent. The implications rippled forward. Every major Ethereum project that followed learned the lesson: test extensively, audit code. Assume users will call every function. Assume adversaries will find every edge case. The Parity freeze wasn't just a bug. It was a tuition payment on blockchain security. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. Subscribe for more deep dives into the technical failures and human decisions that shaped crypto new cases every week. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research.